Hey guys, welcome to our weekly pick a card reading, Spending Saturdays with Steph. I love that you're here and I hope that you do enjoy. This week we have 4 inspired by the Inner Circle, members of the Inner Circle, so thank you. But we'll see what this nature message has for you today. If you land into the name, the ink, and or maybe the stone, I was asked to forge a little something from my husband's mineral and gemstone collection. So if gnomes is standing out to you, what you see, sense, or feel well to comment below, as your insights do expand the experience and we all become the readers, seers, oracles. And you'll have to forgive me. I kind of just foraged through stuff without actually looking or asking what it was. So that'll be my psychometry kind of scrying crystal ball throughout it. And then we have the Faye or Faye. And see what the nature of the Fae, spirit messages from the Fae come through for you. Whenever is meant for you will come through. And again, the sunlight's already starting to come out. It's like a cluster of clear quartz cluster. I love it. And then number 3 is Pixie. All the timestamps are below. If you just want to pitter patter. I gotta close that curtain. Take a look at the ink. What is speaking? What's stepping forward? It's nice sometimes just to step in with openness to receive without trying to apply a question or a query. But nonetheless, a desert, this one I do know, desert rose or desert sand rose, one of my favorites. And then last but not least, we have here, the trolls. I'm almost speechless when I come into this one, but we'll see how long that lasts for. And then this is, I believe, like one of the first man-made crystals. It reminds me of like the, yeah, so I believe it's man-made. Yeah, I can't remember. Nonetheless, I call it the nail file. So, gorgeous. Love it. All right. Whether you're choosing 1, 3, a 4, 2, 3, 1, or maybe you want to come back Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, whatever feels good to you. I'm grateful you're here for like, sharing, and subscribing, and I hope you meet a message meant for you. All right, gnomes. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Thank you. Get the dusties out of the way. If you'd like to take a better view, take it in, drink it in. The gnomes has like this very grounding feel for me. Obviously, we're not here to, strictly stay on the definitions of the spirit of, but the message seems to be about grounding. Maybe even in like a surrendering kind of way, if I may. Protection. Oh, and there's like something this energy is bringing forward where it's like getting the cricks out of my neck, like a chiropractor kind of feel, or configuring alignments with earth energy. I should write that down. But it is all very grounding. We're going to start there. It's all very grounding. It's all very grounding, don't you know? That's how I just heard that. Also, something about peaks in the mountains are coming through. I love that the mineral realm and this grounding sensation is kind of kicking us off with the gnomes, because there's a scurrying as well, in the sense that I'm getting that there might be people, places, or things that are scurrying away from you because you're making moves, you're holding your ground. And I'm seeing Braveheart, the movie. I don't think I saw it all the way through, but I'm seeing the movie Braveheart. Maybe also something about Scotland coming through. Holding your ground. You also might have been grounded a lot as a kid. I wouldn't know anything about that. No. So with the scurrying that's happening about, but I feel quite calm in it. And what I want to say is good for you. Good for you. Maybe it's been a while. Maybe there's also been some people, places, or things that we've allowed self-accountability for one reason or another, but have allowed some sort of energy to be take you for granted. And I feel like we, like to check in where we might be taking someone or something for granted and realigning ourselves, getting the yeah, it's something about the shoulders. And interesting here is I can see these eyes and this, oh, it's an emblem. It's kind of reminding me of, it's like a poppy of remembrance, like Remembrance Day. But that's like in the third eye space, but it's also deep within the mountain, hidden within the vessel. We could absolutely follow this poppy in now, like a burrowing in through the mountain from the side, like to the pineal gland of sorts. So something hidden within the vessel, not because it needs to be hidden, but maybe just protected. And all of the systems that are running around this, like in the gnome spirit, as maybe they run around and help the ground and the earth. And I feel like there's a lot of work that gets done and unnoticed. Dare I say unappreciative? I feel like from the gnome's energy, there's like this, I'm not concerned. We're not concerned about getting appreciation from other awarenesses that have different focuses at this time. There's a support system in place. So whether it no one's looking for accolades, but there is a natural appreciation that's noticed. And that is also appreciated from this gnome grounded like energy. I feel like some of you might really feel it when you're like sitting on the ground, not just like walking with the feet, like sitting on the ground, whether that's a rock at a beach or a pebble beach. It does feel more mineral like, but I'm also seeing if you're sitting in the grass and there's rocks nearby or layers under that, and like the rock layer, like kind of is the vibration that speaks the energy to energy. It's very curious. I'm hoping I'm affording it in some way, shape, or form well for you. I want to know that there's also been some sort of energy up here that feels like the root chakra energy, which typically we would say is down below and deep, is reaching the pinnacle of the crown. So the root and the crown are communicating. I also want to kind of get this sense from, I don't know the size of gnomes, but they do feel smaller, not teeny tiny, but in the size and scope compared to a human, you are viewed as a god, especially if the appreciation is grounded in both ways. So there's a lot about appreciation. And in this moment, if you need to hear it, I will absolutely be the first person to say it or to remind you that you are appreciated. Your presence here is appreciated. Your attention, your awareness, your willingness to be here and explore and see what you see, to know what you know, and hold space for me to also share my insights and be here for it. I appreciate you, and I will remind you of that. And how, if you do that here with other people, places, and things in your life, nuggets and seeds of your lawn, of your plants, of your car, maybe you should be thinking about getting your car detailed or cleaning it out, whatever it is, to teeny tiny, mini to massive, micro to macro. I want to say I appreciate you. So thank you for that. There is something smoothing out. There's also something about, there's a finger that's like luring me in deep in here. There's also like, this feels like the eternal flame that's protected, but this is in the earth energy. This is get grounded, but also get going. So there's this really interesting, like taking a moment to put your shoes on before you get going, checking the weather, smell the wind, open the door, not just the app maybe, but like literally check in with the element, fine tune your intuitions, and go out and smell the air, put a coat on, grab a sweater before you get going. Does that make sense? Ground and then get going. With this protective nature as well, this feels like prosperity. There's an air of phosphorus. Phosphorus. Maybe it feels like a movement when I'm saying that word. The way something emanates. Forgive me if I'm wrong, and absolutely comment below if you know what the word phosphorus means. But it's almost like the way something is communicating and emanating, like seeing heat waves. It's very curious, and being able to take something in, recharge, and what we would call exhaust or waste, but is actually filtered for another energy or element, and that is full for them or for that. It's really quite a process. When I wander more into the plant world, like more like photosynthesis, but this feels phosphorus, and I'm not qualified to say that word in proper context, but that's the feel, that's the vibe. So the crown and the mountain are talking. I think you've also been building something for quite some time. Maybe it is this lifetime. Maybe it's from being a nugget, a seed, an egg, and just becoming more of the form, like minerals and rocks and mountains and grass seeds and one blade of grass. It's gorgeous. Can I come back into here to this phosphorus or flame? This feels close to or akin to like the pineal gland that we were talking about, but it's in the earth. There's dances over here. They look like those half people, half horse. I can never, for the amount of things that come up in my awareness, and you would think that I hold some sort of, but I just stay very liminal sometimes. But it's the half horse, half human. Again, please remind me below. We're already here. And there's dancing, okay, someone's gotten really good at something as well. I just heard you've gotten really good at it. Maybe to some degree or another, this has also been really good at surviving. And are you willing to shift, get ground and get going into thriving as a simple way of seeing or saying that? When somebody's crying false tears, there's also what I'm sensing is I think it's like a Japanese warrior. So an Asian warrior, and is what they're very highly decorated. They mean business, which I think you mean business as well. Like if I was to plop Ayuimi here, right in this energy, this is the larger energy. There's the eyes behind it. There's a gift as well coming in. It feels like a gift that has, this is how I'll say it, healing properties. It doesn't mean it's woo-woo medicine or any of along those lines, but absolutely it could. Here's the curious thing. It feels like maybe you getting grounded and get going in whatever regards, personal, professional, corporate, creative, romantic, platonic. That's a healing property put into play now. I love it. I love it. We're going to wander through the shaman's caves. In the cave of ice is Skybridge, possibility for union and jeweled web connectivity. I read art first, so take it in if you see, sense, or feel anything. This is kind of like the rock formations. Okay, no. Thank you. Yes. Remineralizing something. It's grounded points for the heart. Maybe heart health is coming up as well. For the multidimensional nature to ground into, which is you, the vessel, the conduit. So the conduit between you and your higher self, I'm going to say. That seems very clearly. These gnome characters are very curious because I kind of feel like in some way, shape, or form, they're like foremen or electricians of this energy about grounding it in. Something about crying and rebalancing the system Now I feel like I'm in plumbing. Are they like tradesmen? I feel like trades. They might, the energy of the gnomes might also be willing and wanting to trade gifts and trinkets with you. You can let the waterworks go. It's like fixing the plumbing. Sometimes we just might have a clog. My chair is very squeaky as well. I have said flipped it. Yes, repairing the veil and experiencing life as it comes as the drifter in the cave of winds, of the swords, of the words, the repairs, whether it's electric or emotional. If there's been a sensation that you've been drifting for a little bit, maybe like just constant, consciously, not constant, consciously drifting for a little bit. And you're like, you know what? It's like being in a speedboat to a sailboat. You still have direction, but the experience is different. You're like, yeah, the speedboat or the yacht, I don't know what these things, like, but it's the experience. And for one reason or another, the sailboat seems to be a symbol that is speaking about this because it's a very specific experience that works with the wind as another conduit to ground in and communicates to the grounding gnome. Again, go outside, smell the weather. That's not very grounded advice, but I'm not here to give you advice, just here to share and inspire or irritate alike. But there has been a repair made, and that has between the root and the crown of appreciation. If you in size and scope is this massive human, and to this gnome energy, just from size, could be, oh my goodness, these giants of gods or these giants walk among us. And yet the gnome seems to not so much applying like this god, like, oh my goodness, because it just is, they can ground it in. It's almost like, it's very curious. I'm probably not doing you or them justice, but they have the ability to trade and repair. And it seems to be through electricity, maybe even electromagnetism, emotions, the plumbing. It is very curious. And if you're here, there's most likely some degree or another, you've been doing an immense amount of grounding work. And not just grounding things in because everyone's like, ground it in. You're like working with the portal. Is it mortal and pedestal? Like you are consciously breaking things down into a form that works best for you. You might even be mixing different medicines and minerals. And I'm not talking, like, oh, just let's be crazy and mix everything. This is from your experiences. This is your life's work as your life. It like in your life's work. I love it. Cave of Hearth Fires. Oh, actually, we're going to switch text. Okay. Ooh, cheeky. Cave of Hearth Fires for the gnome folks. I just heard the song, nobody knows the troubles I've seen. Nobody knows the sorrow. You're going to do you, but the message here is also no need to worry so much. What is worrying working towards? What is it actually serving? And is what it's serving what you want? Not that you're ignoring what you don't want, but it's the essence of worry. What's the seed of it? And how is it in relation to what it is you want or don't want? There is a spirit here of not being ignorant, but it's something about worry. And I don't want you to worry, but I know we're going to worry, but I don't want you to worry. If this has someone or something, if I may as well, just a quick tidbit before I move on. If someone is moving through grief, a passing, and they have crossed a threshold, and you have felt that maybe you would like forgiveness, they may need or want forgiveness, or they're asking for your forgiveness, please know that that is blatantly here. If you are asking for forgiveness, it is given. If you are asking for a sign in reverse, or I forgive them, it is granted and appreciated. Something about the communication in different elements, it's like a plumber. If you can hear all that noise, I apologize. It's my neighbor quadding. It is about like building a house and the electrician talking to the plumber who's talking to the carpenter. They may have different languages, different tools, but they all got heart. Okay. In the Cave of Hearthfires, I've got 3 cards out here on the bottom. Is the Magician, Strength, and the 10 of Pentacles. Get grounded and get going, get grounded and get... So playful here. There's a lot of like little hymns or something to keep the flow during, you know, hard times of sorts, or when things seem to be, or you're dealing with a different kind of density. I could say obstacle, but that's not the way I see it. I understand it may be an obstacle. We need to make this, you know, clear the trees to start building the house or preparing the land. It's not an obstacle. It is a relationship resonance. There's an agreement with that land and the trees to say, yes, we wish to also transform, to be of service, and to be released. So that, again, it feels like appreciation. The magic in your heart, all the tools, right? The Magician with all the tools, all the different kind of gnomes, and the ability to ground and go of these trades that are kind of here. It feels like it works. And it's, oh, yes. Also, if there's anything about gophers, or if they've Groundhog Day. Gophers, if it feels like outside of you, like if they're gophers in your land and they could be problematic, I'm sure there's benefits to gophers as well, but I feel like you're handling it, keyword, humanely. On the other side, when I saw Groundhog Day, you might just be tired of the same thing over and over and over again. And so now it's like, okay, so we've grounded that Groundhog Day in. Receive the benefits of it, appreciate it for what it is. It could be a kickoff point for predictability, which has its place to kick off from. It's like, okay, now, especially if you're moving through some form of grief or change, and so, you know, predictability can feel really reassuring, and it could feel very grounding. And it's not meant to stay there like in a hypnotizing state of boring or ho-hum, but it inevitably can be transmuted through you, by you, for you, to then kick off and say, I'm really grateful that there is this air. Your morning routine is predictable because it's a kickoff point for what's possible, to get to work, to get going, to do the things, have the experiences. So sometimes when things are monotonous, they're predictable, the mundane, the doing the laundry, the washing the dishes, they are these added things to all the other unknowns. And that's so really, really beautiful. And I love that. Strength and the 10 of Pentacles. Yeah, King of the Jungle as well. Is that even the lion? I'm not 100% sure, but that's the way it came in. If you build it, they will come. Something about diamonds as well. And a very purposeful playground. I don't know what that means, but a purposeful playground. There's an excitement that's happening here. When you arrive, I'm excited for that. That's the energy. I'm glad that you are here. Yep. There's also work being done here off to the sides of carving what looks like a boat or Noah's Ark. Something, yeah, a Viking ship. There's something also too here about architecture. So however that might relate into you. And it is something about land and sea. And as I said that, it was like I was on the boat and it's like, I see land. Now, this was always planned. When you set off on this experience, there were or are coordinates, personal, professional, corporate, creative, romantic, platonic. But there is a time in the vastness of maybe not seeing land or shore, that your tools, you're trusting that you're on course, and now you're seeing land. It makes sense. It makes sense. What else do we have here in the ink stepping forward? Some repairs. It's like kind of like docking in this new space or whatever's coming up, and repairs get done. It's a time to clean. It's a time to reset things. Oh, I love it. Something about fossils as well. Fishing. Smurfs, but they're earth smurfs, which I kind of think now as I'm seeing them so clearly, I'm like, but is that not a gnome? I don't want to be rude. Maybe an earth smurf's like, no, I'm an earth smurf. I am not a gnome. Otherwise, I'd be called a gnome. And likewise, it's a very funny conversation. But it's cute. And now I feel like Papa Smurf is coming in, and like the foreman of gnomes, and how they cross communicate, because they do work together, because the essence or something is the same. I have here in the Cave of Rivers is boundaries and answers. Oh, it's kind of like that Papa Smurf feel. I love that. If we got the answer, would we listen? Have you already received an answer to a question you may have, but you have just not been listening to it? I'm not calling you out. This may not be for all. That's okay. I hold you very close to my heart if there is a masculine energy that has passed recently, and knowing that while the passing and grieving enhances the positive, and we reflect upon the goodness of that energy, and a lot of the past memories kind of fade in that moment. And if you're moving through something of oneself or another, and now it's like the aftershocks of grief are coming through, and then you can think about, or what's stepping forward is the traumas, stuff that's been underground, stuff that's been chiseling at you for years. And there's like a calling out of like almost like a madness, but the mineral realm can hear this and not hold it in pain, but to be there, to have it carve into something. Nonetheless, this moment is saying, I hear you. And please move through those resentments, that anger towards possibly in the spirit of me because of those things. And I'm glad that they're coming up and rising up, and absolutely release them, because it's almost like if this is someone's story, and thank you for holding space, the energy, the person on the other side of this knows that that's the way to repair it, with full accountability and responsibility for the aftershocks and the reverb through someone else. So you can let go and release that as well, and really be a spark of the forgiveness of all of this, but without retaining and rehashing things out for a closure that may not come in the form that we want it, need it, or expect it, desire it, and dare I say, demand it. If we have reached closure through ourselves and communicated that with your words, your energies, your actions, is that enough? Are you enough to call it closed and to honor that just as what's coming through? Please know that, again, if there is that, it feels like a father-daughter, grandfather, daughter, something in that relationship, or masculine to feminine energies, absolutely have badass boundaries, because that it's like the pineal gland. It's like being hidden out of sight, not out of mind. That's the answer there. I think and feel you fondly. Even though there's been some resentments, or maybe some complications, complexities in the connection with this person, or if you know that person in your life. Well, it came out again. So in the Cave of Earth is finding and closure with home on the bottom. Home, home on the range, where the deers and the buffalo play. You will find closure within the self by creating and cultivating it. And hopefully it's not a punishment. Hopefully it's not, it's what I want for you. It's what I want for you. I also feel like I'm finding myself again. So if you're here, it's kind of like, again, if you build it, they will come building the version of you, not because you're a project, not because anything's wrong or stuck in the hostage healing loop or the hurting loop. This feels like homeostasis in a very natural way that opens the door to experience other things. But knowing your own circuitry and when work needs to be done, repairs, replenishment. Yeah. The gnomes are this gnome energy of groundedness is super wise. I'm seeing somebody go, yeah, we're nervous. We can be nervous. That's okay. Is it going to stop you? No. There's so much more going on in here, but I'm going to let it be. I'm going to move on over to the Faye. But thank you so much. I hope this did serve, inspire, educate, or entertain. Of course, thank you to the gnome energy and to the inner circle that brought it forward. And I will see you guys at your next choice or next week. So much love. Bye. All right. Welcome to number 2, the Faye. The spirit card actually came through, because we'll get into the shaman's palm and the caves, is fire element, warrior, passion, fearlessness. So that kind of jumped out when I was just setting up the cards in the stage for the Fae. My contemplation crystal cluster. I love that. And if you see, sense, or feel anything, you're welcome to take a screenshot so you can scry in your own time, personal use only. Thank you. All right. So you've got reindeer. I'm also seeing, so like imagine antlers were antennae that brought about a vision. It's kind of like if, but it's like you can see the visual communication between the antlers, like the energy, but it feels like it takes form. It does have like higher self vibes, but maybe this is also, no, it's higher self vibes. And there's a little bit of fickleness here. Fickle? Finicky? Fickle? Einhorn and Finkel and Einhorn. Finicky, fickle. It's almost like getting rabbit ears or the antlers antennae to and then you see the vision start to come into focus. The puzzle piece, the picture, even though you've been seeing the picture on the box and you're creating it, you're seeing how it comes together and how it's reflecting through. And it's like, oh, okay, how the pieces are coming together. But I do feel like you're either getting visions, or if you're working with Fae energy or Fae frequencies, it's fiery. It has this energy where it's like create like a lighter. You need the spark. And there is a form that creates ease. So again, it's like going from a match to, different forms of starting a fire to like just a regular flick my bic. And that process, I'm acknowledging the original source within the self, because there might have been something serious that you felt that in your life, your personal, professional, corporate, creative, romantic, platonic was finicky, or you were fiddling around with. You're like, can I tweak this? And this brings in this playing with that. It's the fiddling. It's the fiddling, playing with the fickleness, the tilt, the degrees, the radiuses, and sparking things when you get a spark, when you don't get a spark. Yeah. And I'm seeing what I think is like Formula One racing, or maybe just different kinds of racing, a lot of different kinds of speeds, and knowing the benefit. Yeah, you're formulating something, but it's through the play. It's like seeing fire at its source, natural state, and then being in, you know, a lighter, a flamethrower, a fireplace, a stove, the uses, the benefits, the brilliance of this. But I want to acknowledge, for one reason or another, if the Fae have anything to do with the in-between growth spurts and growing pains and the willingness to play with fickleness and being finicky a little bit. It could also be in the spirit of like, not defining, but just as it's coming through, like autism, OCD even, and also allowing some of those ficklenesses to go away and realize they're no longer feeding that fire, or the fire they're feeding it's an empty burn. And your awareness is aware of this now. So it's like you change focuses and say, I'm going to release doing something or fussing over something. And I want to play with where I can put the intention of that into maybe something that has a focus for this vision to come into clearer and clearer view. I also want to note here, because it's just very higher self oriented, it feels like while fundamentally it's about playing with creation, but it comes from maybe visions you have in other dimensions of self and degrees of that. It's like different degrees of the temperature of water, different degrees of fire, different kinds of creation, different kinds of cremation. I feel like the Fae anyway, is very feisty and I love it, but the surrendering of something has kind of opened an eye. And if I didn't say so, because I feel like I kind of got lost in all of the fun, there's also fun here, but it's not without its like cheekiness. And it's just some sort of like communicating with maybe other dimensions of self and or consciousness, characters, dimensional spaces. So you might be seeing, maybe you see Faye. Is this the thing? Creating spaces, that center around communicating. And while I'm seeing right now, just being here feels like circular energy, it's the focus of triangle that triangulates that space to put the circle. Does that make sense? Like your awareness, your see, sense, and feels, your intuition, all the things, that triangle triangulates where to place the circle. Then some sort of boundary maybe comes into play, and a vision, the visions or communications can start to come through. Oy vey. Hopefully, if you're here for it, you're like, yeah, I get it. You don't need to keep trying. But again, there's a funness about it. And I'm trying not to move into the fickle, but there's a fearlessness here. Thank you. There's a fearlessness that is very obviously here. Reindeers, I said that, yes. Llamas as well. And if you're part of the House of Scrying, the membership over there is like, in the members message, push push. And I feel like a push push. So there's like a little bit of boosh here, and I love it. Love it. You know, don't shy away from the boosh, baby. Don't shy away from the bougie. And maybe just in one area of your life, and you're like, this is where I love to be bougie. You know, we all have like that guilty pleasure of sorts. And here it feels like having a bougie pleasure of sorts. And maybe there's more of that. Maybe the fearlessness of wanting more. Not out of greed or speed, just of the experience. What more life has to offer, the dimensions has to offer. And the cave of ice is silence. The snow. Are we in a little snow globe? I love it. The coloring of this card, curiously, is very close to the bottom of the card. This like minty, haunted forest green. Feels like that boundary we were talking about. And something about X marks the spot if you are seeking or searching or looking for something. Also swords, they do feel like wooden swords. So it's like blending, yes, wands and swords together. Somebody having deja vus. Something is also being lifted outside of me. It feels like an angst. It feels like something that made me angry at one point. And maybe that fire, the flame, has dimmed down, but it's been, still there. And in some way, it has created a radiant warmth I've become accustomed to, however this might mean for you. And now I'm noticing it's like I'm following that because I'm like, that heat source feels outdated maybe, or oh, I forgot this was ongoing. So it's like then you realize why your energy bills are so high. Maybe of your house, there is a house here, but also the house of you. So it's like, oh, why does doing X, Y, or Z take so much energy? And so it's like rolling around in your spaciousness of self and finding that it's like having the heat on, but all the windows and doors open. And you're like, oh, I forgot I was kind of like mulling with that. So you do find anything that kind of has been a leak or just not utilized. The house here feels like in the dynamics feels very heart healing, but I also do feel a little defensive about something. Do I feel defensive actually? I feel a little, yeah, I do, because I kind of feel like I am not in the mood. And I don't know if the Faye and all of their fun and frequencies and history, but I'm not here to, just stay there, but to communicate what I see, sense, and feel from the energy is the moodiness of it, like a mood ring. I have to relax my shoulders there. So it's like stress relief. Don't poke the bear. Don't poke the bear. And as I'm saying this, and I'm in like this, suddenly I got very, like I felt like I went into a dream. And so maybe like going home, coming home to yourself, whatever your home is, your location, whether it's a mansion, an apartment, a trailer, a detached duplex. It's almost like all of that just in this moment doesn't matter. Like all of that, you're just like, it's the space. And that you have been forming to feel it's kind of like that thing again with that we started off. You chose through the directions of the triangle and triangulating, and then it creates this space that feels circular, protected for you to breathe and be in. And maybe even if I go in farther into the home to a couch, or maybe somebody's in a deep meditation right now because I'm seeing a crescent moon. So there might be somebody right in this moment that's dreaming in a slumber, a quick nap, or resting the eyes. The space to sleep and dream. Certain things need to be in place for that to happen so one can rest easily. And maybe you are dreaming of a white Christmas. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. And if you're like, no way, but just symbolically speaking, what that kind of brings out in us to dream again, to feel safe and secure to believe. Sitting by the fire, warmth, being able to turn the heat on and off. Simple pleasures, profound possibilities. In the cave of in the cave of winds, of the swords, and of the words is, I can't read that word, but rain. I'm only happy when it rains. I can't, it's so small, fluctuity. It doesn't matter. Rain. The weather systems here, like a roof is a roof is a roof. The roof. There's so many elements here. And the Faye message kind of feels like, I feel you. I feel you. I feel you. So if you need to hear that from someone in spirit, your higher self, or I feel you in all of the weather systems and elements. And the point somewhere along here is to be able to play with lucid dreaming, play with or taste woodworking or a craft, because you kind of have been through the seasons of many versions of self. You're probably a very old soul. Seeing windshield wipers on a car. You might even be considering moving, changing locations, following that navigation. Clearly, I heard as I noted that I'm not in a rush just to get there. It almost feels like in that wisdom of, I'm going to play with this concept, this construct, something about like little hints and clues. So I don't know if it's like little gestures and working with Faye frequencies or just in existence because you're connected to it. It's like you receive little signs. Sure, we could call them also synchronicities, but I feel like they're clear signs. Like, let's say you're like, I'm open to moving. And it's like the Fae are like, oh, okay. And so as you might think about places or locations, say you go and look at an apartment, or maybe you're moving from a house to an apartment, you're downsizing for more space to do other things other than have a major focus on home maintenance, renovations, etc. And then maybe you're also thinking about going from a trailer to an apartment, or the season like it is out here. A lot of the times, like there's folks go out to the trailers for their summer or their cottages. So whether that's mansions, apartments, and buildings or whatnot, they go to the trailer where smaller space to maintain, but the space to roam around is much bigger. There's something about maybe also the responsibilities that pour down on you at some point in time. Where there's sources of that cloud, it's your weather system. So you know that alchemy and how heavy even a puffy cloud can be, and for it to release the rain. But I want you to know, at least in this moment, it feels like I can stand in this rain now and let it be rain, and it doesn't ruin the day, the week, the month, the year. It's raining. And if there's sadness and sorrow, then it's raining. And sometimes we grab an umbrella because we still got things to do, and we can't be sopping wet going to work or wherever you're going. So you bring an umbrella or your galoshes, and we do our best. And then there's sometimes we can stand out in the rain and just let it pour out and cry with it, sweat with it. And it just is part of nature, and it's a different way of they're both respected and understood. Nonetheless, I don't know where I've gone here, but I'm in weather, apartments and trailers and mansions. Oh my. Okay, so thank you about the restructuring of where you want to spend your responsibilities, or the energy of accepting what we are responsible for as well. And if those things are changing, we don't necessarily just get to say, no, I'm done. that there is a way to do this responsibly in removing or changing that, and out of respect for you and of those around you. And while I feel like I'm not talking about fun things. They're very real things. But the Faye energy around this, it's about sparking these like signs. You go and look at an apartment or a house or a car or a new shirt, and it reminds you of something, or you find a dime in a windowsill. Whatever your sign is from spirit, these little sprinkles, and you're like, oh, it doesn't mean it's the one and only, but it may be a sign for you to say, we're here with you on this journey. We're here with you looking. And wherever you decide to structure yourself, we are with you. I love it. Okay, I'm going to flip it. Take it in, take it in. Do you know what I also want to say, which is really interesting? So the wind just came in. You got lots of weather here. Weather systems and whatnot at work. You know what's okay, but if this message is just for one thing, you're for holding space. You know, it's like when people can manipulate the weather. So maybe this is something you keep an eye out for. Maybe it's also something you're very protective of. Is when you notice weather, mind, emotional manipulation. I don't want to give your quote unquote secrets away or even imply, you know what I mean? Because it's like as security gets stronger, so do those who wish to conquer said things. So I just want to acknowledge that you're aware of when something is natural, organic, and or manipulated or synthesized. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. You're just aware of it and you make your choices accordingly. You're like, but I think a lot of the times you're silent. You may be very silent about it. The way it's interesting, because if I recall from number 1, coming from the gnomes, maybe it was here, it's already getting very blurry. It was like the worrying, and now it's the warrior. And the warrior within the self isn't dismantling or fighting the worrier, and almost like in this insulting, barraging kind of way. Because again, I think that there's been something you've dealt with or have been interacted with that you see that now. It's like you can see the patterns in the systematicness of things, and to be like, I'm not going to berate myself and beat myself into a point of dismissing to my own, or submission to my own self. Here, I feel, because it's very warrior, like I can see the swords now, like behind my back. There's also a chair that feels very throny. And I just heard in like the phrase like cut of the jib, or I can't even get it on my face. There's something about like even in this like cut off. So maybe it's like cut from the same cloth. I don't know. Maybe you've had to cut people, places, or things off. I don't feel like that you've done that. Maybe they've been held on way too long. And the Fae has been trying to like teach you that or share that message with you, to be like too long, you know? And something fizzles out. Because it's like, I'm back to the weather manipulation. Okay, we're switching decks. Okay. All right. It's taking a seat on your throne in that chair. There's a thunderbird back there. There's a totem, and there's also it's an owl. The owl's mixed with something else. These are carved things. When you step in, I feel like stepping into the circle. It's like somebody stepping in as fire, somebody stepping in as earth, air, like feng shui, very much elemental. And you might be at this time of like, it's not that you play with fire, but you might be playing with creation, maybe in danger or adrenaline, to feel alive. However you do that, but it's like you bring the fire that's going to cook the food in this circle of Faye. Maybe it's been watered down before. I hope I'm doing you some justice, because this is very curious. Heavy responsibility, but maybe you're just coming into a time where you're like, oh, I'm going to play. I can spend some time playing. In the Cave of Hearthfires, is there just one card there? We have here Ace of Swords. Take a look. Take a look. It's a Beetlejuice tarot. You know I love me some Beetlejuice. I'm going to grab 2 more up there. Taking a close look at something. The way you're designing not only the individual aspects of who and what you extend your heart's virtue to and work with, but how it's received in response. Yeah, I love this. Page of Cups. And then we also have here the Knight of Swords. See, there's something prickly in all of this. Yep. Something prickly. And I celebrate that. In this moment, if you understand this energy, it's the fickle, it's the finicky. It's the thorns on the rose. I feel like when I stepped into this energy of the Fae, kind of feeling that out, they have paid no mind to me, like fluttering around it. They're like, go ahead. This is the way. Like, I don't know how to, it's not about being ignoring other ways or this or that. It is kind of like the playground for this to formulate, and where fire burns, where rain cleanses and drowns, where snow is beautiful and then can be also an avalanche. And I feel like this is like a funny little playground where you've been through a lot of these things. So you are careful when you are creating, not to the degree that you stifle, but you're careful. You're careful. The conversation of pulling swords out of your heart space, and also with what you forged in fire, carving out different tools, carving out different kinds of ways to communicate. Because I do see you sitting here with the higher self and communicating. You have this warrior, higher self warrior. Also, there's another stone coming through. I want to call it Amalite. It's a fossil nonetheless. Again, I want to say, like, you're probably a soul older than that we can even like really apply. Like, primitive isn't even old enough. Ancient, sure, but ancient has like this vibe to it. Like, this was like a legitimate experience. Maybe you were a bug. Maybe you're a mineral on a mountain. Maybe you were one raindrop a gajillion years ago that fell from a cloud, and you remember that experience. Yep, there, I said it. Is what it is. I shall not take it back. Here's pointing at you. Did this come up somewhere else today? I can't quite remember. Maybe number 1, or maybe, but it's coming back again. Here's pointing at you. And I'm seeing symbols on a drum. Like if somebody's drumming, and there's symbols off to the side. Or like the, yeah, it's really curious. Like, there's sound here all of a sudden. Lots of sound. It's the Faye getting ready to party. Fellas, move. Ladies, move. Some sort of song just came in. It's almost like even learning maybe like a self-defense or a martial art is play or has its element of play. In the Cave of Rivers, Syrian B, responsibilities, lessons growing up. Yeah, this is what it's felt like kind of all along, that a lot has been placed upon you. As we were just talking about play in regards to the spirit of martial arts and the way I'm reading it as Syrian, it's like, but we're also very serious about that. Maybe it's time you're serious about your play, or something that was very playful becomes serious. Maybe you're going to start taking a part of you more serious, some part of your life that you're like, you know what? I'm going to start taking this quite serious. Okay, let's go. I'm going to take this. Yeah. Either which way, I feel like it's go time. You are taking the responsibilities and the lessons that you've had and sitting literally in your throne. And you have cohorts and conversations that are meaningful. If anything's empty or threatening, I'll just say it. And I think we're good after a while from algorithm space. You're just like, fuck off. And maybe the Fae is really good at that. Fair enough. In the Cave of Earth is Agarthians 1. Manifesting multidimensional perception and attunement. Look at the coloring of this card. Look at the coloring of this oracle card. All that hauntingly green. But now it feels fresher. Now it feels fresher. Fresh. The pressure systems of different weather systems navigating. And you know what's interesting? We've had 2 swords around here the whole time. I think you're forging a new one. Like what was is being reformed. Parts of you even. Reformed. In honor of, melted down. And it could be something completely different. But you're here for it. You're willing. You're playing. And you know what? When you have a specific vision for something, you don't constipate it. So good for you. And now we're at the 1. The beginning of what it is you wish to manifest, create, surrender to, so you can have profound play. And the way I heard that is be someone of importance in your life by your standards. Yeah. On the bottom was blue avians. Number 7 might mean something to you. Philosophy, releasing karma, and mysticism. And thank you, because I will say there was a bird here. And was there a bird on the other side? Or did I only see it on this side? No, it's only down here. Here's the beak. And I was like, oh, there's a bird in there. I didn't speak to it, but there it is there. Blue avians. Everything feels a little bit lighter here. Are you a fish out of water? Does it matter? You're having fun. It feels good, man. It feels good. It feels good now. It feels good. And maybe that's what I want to say I want for you in this message. Is to feel. We can't speak to the moments before or what's going to be ahead. But in this moment, here and now, I was going to grab my water, but I don't know that I have anything left. Take a moment to feel good about yourself. The fresh air, the fresh rain, the fresh snow, the fresh breeze, the dryness of wherever you may live. And may the Fae find you. Be friendly if you're working with them. And if you have nothing to do with the Fae in and of themselves, but bring what you bring in the fierceness of this, the fearlessness of conversing with your human and higher self in the heart space and attuning into that and breathing life into that. And that feels good. All right. I hope this did serve, inspire, educate, or entertain. Thank you so, so much for being here. And to the inner circle for bringing this topic area forward. All the links are below. If you would like to join the mailing list or step into the House of Scrying or timestamps, if you haven't already commented, and tell me what you see, sense, or feel, or in your next choice, next adventure, or next week, all the things, all the things. I hope you have fun. Hope you have a little bit of fun. So much love. Bye. Welcome to Pixie, your message from the nature spirits today. Thank you, Pixie. And we have the desert rose here that I will use as my contemplation crystal ball. Please see, sense, and feel for yourself. The sun is starting to really come out, so allow the lighting to illuminate accordingly. Okay, with Pixie, there is this wonder that comes through. Well, thank you, Spirit card. I can see you off there off to the side. I wonder. Okay, I wonder. See if I can formulate this. I wonder what's possible. I wonder what harmony feels like. I wonder if me can surrender in the spaces in which harmony already exists in your life, in your head, in your heart, your higher self, that relationship with the higher self, the head and the heart to the feet, and the actions you take. And maybe sometimes stop and go, I wonder, how does this feel in that one moment of like walk in, and then stop? It just feels like a natural stop, not a forced stop, a forced stop. And it's like, ooh. And it's like seeing those, I wonder. Maestro begin, but I wonder. And I'm going to surrender to this moment. I'm going to surrender to stop and smell the rose, Spirit card. Love, relationships, and harmony. Stop and smell the roses. Stop and at the bakery part of the grocery store, picking up the bag of marshmallows for a campfire, but smelling them first. Delighting in sensory enhancements, excitements. And while there's all of this energy, the spirit seems to be of surrendering to that. And if I may, and I don't know a whole lot about pixies, but you know me, I'm here to like tickle beyond the ordinary, but also appreciating what a pixie may represent, mean, mythologically, from a legend to lore. It's like this pixie dust floating upon you in that moment, like the very sand, and that has come across this rose. And it feels like a crystallization. Oh, look at that. I didn't even recognize, like, as it just like flew out when I was pre-shuffling coming in here. The rose and the desert rose, both roses. And what does a rose maybe represent to you? Venus, love. Classic, friendliness. Unconditional love. There's no but in that. There's no I unconditionally love, but ... It's the unconditional love of maybe this pixie dust, or if I'm seeing it like a parade. Thank you. Seeing it like a parade. And maybe we have favorites in the parade, flavors of things in the parade, but we still unconditionally love the parade overall. Like one or two things that maybe, you know, if you like the band, the costumes, or the floats, and maybe there's other things that aren't really to your taste or you don't like, but you still unconditionally love a good parade. And it's like surrendering those things that maybe we don't like under the umbrella of unconditional love. It doesn't create a but. It's okay to have those things in our lives, whatever this may be, and however this message is coming through, to fall under like or dislike, but it doesn't take away or add a but to the unconditional love. There's also, and this rose keeps standing out, it's obviously very clearly here, that if there is a love that was taken away, that has passed, a love for even maybe something you did a long time ago or at a different stage in your life, it's like I lost the love for life, or I lost that version of myself that just felt free to explore. And I feel like in this moment, it's like moving from the desert rose to a blooming rose in a garden. And something returns to remember, but I must surrender to remember. It will not come in a forceness to be just because I want or need. Does that make sense? Whew. I want to note here as well, very much so heart, throat, solar plexus, they seem to be in unison. That's coming through. I'm seeing it's changing on me very fast here. So there is a face here and there's an arc. So maybe if you follow the archetypes, and maybe you're in an arc of the archetypes to a cycle of some sort, and you're arcing over. So it's not mountain peak, it is arc. I'm just gonna keep saying the same word. It's an arc, an overarching bending so you don't break. I now placed in like a good old-fashioned yoga class, and if at any point in time you need to stop and surrender to child's pose as the example, you don't need to give a hoot or a toot about a traditional class, and you just say, oh, the class is going to continue on, but I'm listening to myself and I need to stop. I'm having an emotional moment. I'm having an energetic moment. I'm having a moment where my body is exhausted, and pushing through is not the best. It does not exude strength or performance or adding an endurance. These subtleties. Each petal represents something for you in this arc. There's this shift, surrendering to the shift. It is delicate, but sweet. And I speak of things in such as this face is here, as though like if I was looking at someone's aura, it is this like an ocean around your, like if this is your neck or your throat was where the river, or I don't know, whatever smaller body of water meets this body of water and moves out into the sea. And are you seeing more too? If you're here, there could be an aspect of empathic energy merging with a source that maybe you've been working towards, called towards, floating, allowing the current to move you towards this. I wonder. There's whispers here. I wonder. Massive ears, and like the shape of the ears, which I think could be lying, so I have no idea, is almost like a fingerprint as well, possibly, but the way I'm seeing it right now. Now imagine that shape to be Puff the Magic Dragon. Interesting. Lived by the sea. In your whole aura, from the neck, shoulders, to where, yes, maybe the crown is, but it is a sea and ocean, and where we might apply water plants, because plants are very much so here, but it's like water plants, and insert where the lotus is with a rose. So the shape is of Puff the Magic Dragon, listening. There's also like a mantid like alien in here. You can see his eyes, and he's got like that really, he's got, does he have a book? It's a seatbelt. It's a seatbelt. You're a traveler? Do you travel? So I'm being brought in with the desert rose, the golden sands that once were the beneath or the beaches of the seas and the oceans, and you can still connect to the water through that in a different state. You might also be stepping out a little bit. I'm seeing honey, like a honey bear, like Winnie the Pooh. Thank you, a honey bear. Oh my goodness. Get yourself together. You also might be hearing what I closely am referring to, because I'm back in that mantid. And now that mantid, I'm seeing this version here. It looks like an old Amelia Earnhardt. Is she a pilot? Because it's like old-fashioned pilot things. Are you learning to fly? I wonder. Maybe it has something to do with spaceships. If mantids in a insectoid symbolize, meditation to you, knowing when to strike, knowing when to move, and the stillness is only perceived, but there's actually always subtle movement, which is strengthening. But when you exert, and have you ever seen like a mantis fly? It's majestic. And the Cave of Ice is duality, balance needed 23, which if you come from the House of Scrying, or if I've said it here, I can't remember. It's my like Michael Jordan number. It is my Michael Jackson number. Simply symbolically representing choosing your number of greatness, not waiting for your number to be called, but can you be great in whatever number you've been given and infusing that. So it's like surrendering to being on a team of sorts, say lifetime 1900s to the 2000s, and we're here, we got our ticket, the jersey, it comes in, and you're like, which team am I on? What's my number? And you're like, oh, I got number blah, 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 but I really wanted blah, 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 because everyone knows 23 is the great number. And now I'm like 24 though. Like, that sucks. It's like, well, you might be the one for 24 to become great, or leading to a 6. And we're coming into June. So that's pretty cool. So it's like surrendering the stifleness of what afterthoughts of what we wanted or thought we wanted. Does this make sense? Pixies are very perplexing as my chair squeaks all over the place. It's perplexing, but it feels like an orchestra. It feels like a new earth is also, it's like this is being picked up. There's a person in here. Where's my little sticky thing today? I'll have to use my pen. If this was a bundle of earth, like a bulb, and this is a person standing here, and this is being picked up, and it feels like it's floating. Like, where would you like to land? Where do you want to root this into? Because once you decide or have decided in this space, allowing things to settle, the roots to relax, to find which direction they will go and grow in, got angels that sing out here as well. They're singing. They're singing. I don't know if you hear octaves. Or like different hertz in sound. I'm back to those ears. I just heard a whistle as well as I said that. Whew. Passion, love for life in the cave of winds of the mind. I got love for life. Is that Iggy? I got love for life. Something here in this space, if you're here in Pixie and your message is like, I want to say like something's about to pop off. And not one of those like dandelions, mama, the baby and her head popped off. Not like that. Like, it feels jazzy. And as though somewhere along the lines, I kind of was in a sleep. Or maybe it's going to feel like a dream. And you're going to be like, is this happening? Are you perplexed at the possibility of wondering, is this for you? That you've made 24 the new 23? That doesn't take away from 23. It adds in the succession of something. Succession. How brilliant that you have chosen that. And now someone else, next generation, person, place, and thing will look at 24 and be like, I want to be 24. Amazing. But something about this says deeply and dearly to surrender something. Mother Earth, grounding and support is on the bottom. Look at that geometry here in like the yellow and the yellow. Wheat fields. Okay. The whistles. You listen to, maybe also hear whistles, but again, there's something about sound. Sound the alarm, sound the whistle. I feel like you listen to spirit uberly well. Spirit of your higher self first, because it's not in like this distrusting way. Like, oh, I don't listen to other spirits of sorts, but it's almost like it filters through your higher self first, so that if the whistle's blown, like, no go, they're not who they say they are. Maybe you notice, you listen to someone's actions, words, behaviors, the mismatch of things, and you listen to your higher self. And I feel like I just really want to say, like, good for you. Good for you. And it's almost like maybe you've been through things that you've tried to, like, you know, your intuition or your instinct says one thing, and you're like, but you always can see potential. So it's like, yeah, but it has so much potential, but maybe for one reason or another, in some pattern that you see the potential in, but it just doesn't work out. It's like surrendering that and almost like lifting the pixie dust off of that spell so that you can see. And you're like, I'm not falling for that again, just because you can see the beauty and you can see the potential in that, in the pattern, in the geometry that grounds it. But if it's not alchemizing with you, it's kind of like I see you surrendering that. And once you say, like, oh yeah, I'm familiar with that. Unconditional love, just not for me. It doesn't poop on your parade or your passion. It's like scars and stars, and you listen. You just listen now. You're like, I surrender. I'm not going to fight this. Yes, I see potential, but I know this pattern, and I'm not going to try and defeat it with brute force. Like, I don't know, something about that. Pixie, let's flip it and see what else is going on here. My chair is super squeaky today. Well, c'est la vie. I'm going to grab one more tarot card from the Game of Thrones deck for up there in the Cave of Hearthfires. And then we'll read the Cave of Hearthfires and the Eight of Coins as well. So you've got the star, page of coins, and the 8 of coins. On the bottom is 3 of cups. Congratulations, a celebration. I also, when I said the word pop off, note it's almost like when you see the rose open, a bloom, a bud go from bud to a bloom. I'm telling you, there's something here that feels like I'm ready to pop off. Ready? I don't know. Is a flower ever ready? Is there an internal conversation with a flower or a rose or any sort of plant that's like, I'm ready to pop off, world. Look at me and look at my bud that's gonna become a bloom. Look at me. maybe they have their own internal process, or maybe they trust and they surrender to the unfolding and to the photosynthesizing. Lots of plant and water life here, and I love this. It feels coalescence, and it feels like passion for life and love. It feels harmonious. And if something is a hurt, things that you've gone through, of course, but you're able to have them bloom into a bleeding heart flower, and that represents what was that scar to a star. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like having different plants and flowers in pots or on the windowsill, or acres of English gardens. Regardless of the size and scope, it is the essence that is very clearly the most important thing here. And that is imbued and infused by you perceiving it. And it's lovely. It's like coming across a little flower or a blade of grass in the concrete. And you're like, that one blade of grass in this concrete jungle did it. Amazing. Good for you. I love this. So sometimes while everyone's looking up, your pixie-like perspective sees the sprites and the sparks, where spirit might be like, and look down. We could say look within, but almost like just look down, look at the ground. And maybe in that moment you see a sign or a symbol, a feather, a sign from spirit, that flower, that blade of grass growing in the concrete, and it stops you in your track, and that's your version in that moment of stopping to smell the flowers. Also, there's this air of like security here. So when those moments happen and there's not clearly a sign, but you also might be just sensing spirits, residual energy, somebody else's energy. If there's nobody around, spirit, there literally may be something about you, your paranormal perspective, that's like, oh, there's an essence here. There's an aura that is asking for my attention. Higher self, check in. Is it safe? Whatever your questions and queries are, to decide, and then you might interact. So you might be very, I could say psychic. I don't know if it's really the right term, but I feel like it's under that umbrella anyway. You know what I mean? So maybe it's one of the clairs, and it might be clair listening, clair seeing, whatever the case is. So in the cave of hearth fires, we have the star, page of coins, and the 8 of coins. The illumination. You're being given something. That's when it's like looking up or looking down, and you get to work. Interesting how I'm seeing this is, or how I'm going to say it first, is you asked for a sign. So look for the sign. Like, not making it up, but you'll see the sign. Like, I saw the sign. There's one sun here in the coin, or your pentacles, and you're making one turn into many. How this pop off, maybe it's your money popping off, maybe it's whatever else a pentacle earthly might relate to you. Maybe it's different powers, like just power play, the power of the bud turning into a bloom. And some things are perennial, some things are annuals, some things are better in pots, some things are better in the ground. These are all the things that just kind of Like when part of your garden pops off and you're like, yeah, it's exciting. And I feel like there's just a lot of appreciation for that moment. I'm back to that something about the angels, and I'm hearing the song. Forgive me. She talks to angels. She talks to angels. That's all I'm hearing. I feel like if I heard the song on the radio, I'd be like, oh my God, I know that song. Of course I know that song. But that's all I'm getting in this moment. There's also the ability to multiply. And you know what? I'm just going to take a little moment here because I think to some degree or another, if in this Pixie message for you as things are getting ready to pop off, it might also be perplexing sometimes for you, or you've been through some people, places, or things that it's like, okay, first of all, you were their sign. You might not have known that, but if somebody else asked for a sign, you're grocery shopping, you bumped into somebody, you said, oh, I'm sorry, you held the door open. Or maybe, I don't know, you did something, you said something, you wore something, you smelled like something. You were their sign. Okay, so that's that. On the other hand, here I want to lean into the multiplying energy. And if you know this part is for you, it's to be heard and then released, surrendered. Hopefully, it's not still like a thing, but compassionately, I get it. Your magnitude to multiply, like pixie dust, has been, I don't want to be rude and say wasted on other people, places, or things, but definitely has the air of like they've taken it upon themselves to help them get high on your supply. You do the work and they just and so maybe if you've seen multiplying around you, but maybe not for you, you might actually be the source. I'm not judging if this is by design, has purpose, value, meaning, all of those things are for you. But if it's just something you've noticed, you might want to just check. Yeah, life force energy here is on the bottom. They have been tapped in. Let's plop ourselves in. We're also accountable for letting that happen. Or again, maybe it's by design. I don't know. And so if you've been seeing it, because you're a multiplier is how it's feeling in this moment, but the source of that, so it's like you see it outside of you, but not for you. But again, get ready for things to pop off because it's almost like those valves close, whether these are people, places, or things. They might not even know that they've been doing it. I don't know. Yeah, flows right underneath that. And the cave of rivers. Okay, cave of rivers. We have Flow 14, the River Nile, and Life Force Energy, the Messiah in Africa. So just a heads up. Check in with your flows, flow charts. Maybe it was, it's a friend, it's a family member, and you're like, yeah. I'm not talking about not giving. I'm not talking about stopping the flow of giving. It's the flow, it's your essence of multiplying. Magnetism, insert the words. The work that you do, that voodoo that you do so well. And maybe sometimes it's like you feel like you go from full bloom to a desert rose. And it's like, well, how did I go from here and receive no benefits? In the space of this, it just might be that other people or aspects of ourselves were siphoning those. So maybe check in with that. Just saying as a sidebar there. What else we got here? I just heard, a pixie problem. And maybe it's just in the spirit of that pixie dust, right? Because you kind of like have this aura that sparkles, but you also send signals out. So when you give away freely. And this could be part of your flow. Like when you give or do or etc., it's free. There's no catches. Even the secret ones that people think aren't there that will come in 2 months or 2 years. And like, oh, remember that thing? That, yeah. So anyway, I have a favor. You don't do that. You have ensured. It's almost like you're like a representation of treat thy neighbor as you would like to be treated. But that doesn't necessarily always mean that in reciprocity that happens. But you do lead by that example, so you don't have these catches. And when people sometimes or other, parts of ourselves are like, oh, but there's really no like follow-up or anything. There's no catch to this. It's free. And then it can kind of sometimes feed that hunger that like it's like Mr. Never or Mrs. Never Enough, right? It's like, oh, I don't know, I don't need to do. And so somewhere along the lines, you've made some beautiful discernment, probably in the way that you talk to angels or angel teams, or maybe you speak higher self to higher self to get the information to however you do. So when you give freely, it is freely. It doesn't stop your flow. So you give to receive more, but it's almost like you're not going to get the more back from those who don't know how to give. They're in a different learning state of that. So it's almost like, okay, then slow that tap down, but you will learn how or receive from other sources that are very good at giving reciprocity to receive because they understand the flow. Does that make sense? Like, what the heck is going on here? I don't know. There's obviously a space in this message of like, even I feel like I'm like, I need to surrender to this because it feels like gold in here, but it's like those gold shows, where some like they mine up in the mountain around. This is like water, like underwater gold. And maybe Pixies also, maybe they play with, oh, I see some moose in there. I love when I see moose. Breakthrough, I love that. I can't remember, sorry, what I was saying. Pixie's got me all, on the bottom is trust. Cave of Earth is breakthrough. 5, the moon landing, and 3, the Silk Road, Inner Mongolia. And look at all of that sand and the glow of your life force energy, man. People see it, but I'm going to speak for you anyway. In if you're here, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Lions might mean something to you. Something coming together. It's like that famous painting, and he just like one straight, and all he has to do is go boop, and like then it'll touch. Yeah. So it's like this, and all you need to do, like you don't even need to lift a big finger. It just boop, and it makes this connection. Definitely worth protecting as well. There's some grumbly gopher guts over here. Maybe even still you might have like a little bit of a grumpy heart sometimes. Sure. I'm totally grumpy. I'm the person that's like, oh, Steph, do you want to do this? Nope. I'm always a no first person. Oh, my Capricornian ways. Somebody grumbly, I'm also seeing this, interestingly enough, as a side face, as we're going to be coming into the troll next, but I don't necessarily want to make that association, but it's kind of more like an ogre. And somebody might feel a frickin' way when you do notice and decide to do something about it delicately, but that doesn't mean it'll be received delicately, because remember, they're coming off your supply. Their dealer ain't dealing. Their dealer didn't even know they were dealing, maybe. And so they might pull on your heartstrings. I think that how and which way everyone goes about this is very, very personal. And maybe it's something that you've already gone through, because you maybe have an amazing awareness of being hooked on the dust somewhere in whatever form that may be for you. And it led you, yeah, I see a key. Congratulations if you're getting a key for something and what that may represent to you. And it's like being hanging around the neck almost. So it's not on like a regular keychain. Also, it could be something on a fence and getting access to through a gate or a fence. And it's funny because like the key's right there. There could also be something about that, is that, you know, if you think you have a key hidden or nobody knows about it, they know where to get it, to get to your supplies, energetically speaking. Nonetheless, let's speak to you first, because your flow of life force energy is about to have, if not, you're already stepping into, just through the threshold from bud to bloom. The stem, seed to stem, has been a process. May I also say, your leaves are beautiful. It's not always about the bloom, but the blooms, we got them up here. The star of the show of the flower typically is the bloom. But I want to take a moment to also credit your leaves, your stem health, your strengthening when it is windy. I see that in those moments. I appreciate you that for those strengths and beauty as well. I literally have a vase of just stems as well, so it's coming in. Anyway, so I want to just note that I appreciate, and if that's a message you need to hear, that the stem seed growth, and there are some things like the acorn and the trees that can take longer, but they withstand longevity, legends. What is that? Legacy. You're turning, you wanted 23, you got 24 as the example. You turn 24 into another 23. So now 24 is the 23. And this breakthrough for you is going to be an adventure. And Pixie, I almost kind of want to say it's like, are you ready to play now with that? Like, I think to some degree or another, like the story of like playing small little passions and this, that, or the other. You've been through some serious trust exercises. Like I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because it kind of feels like, looking back, I'm like, oh my God, it's so many trust exercises. And it's time for your adventure of this aspect to begin here. And the desert rose stands just as beautiful as the love and harmony of a fresh one. So something about a time capsule. All right, Pixies, I'm going to leave this here. I hope that this wonder is a world of wonderlands that brings you more adventures that help you with your breakthroughs, to see yourself as the star of your own show, to take the center stage. And whether in that space of perspective of the audience being, maybe there's going to be hecklers, maybe there's going to be people that get up and go, maybe they're just going to the washroom. The maybes. You're on stage, focus there. Trying to make reasons, excuses, understandings. I'm not talking about separating out of non-compassion, but trying to figure out every single person that may be in your audience or your aura's ways, the whys, the reasonings, etc. There might be a few you might actually connect to that have like backstage pass, but essentially it's a waste of time. I'm not trying to be rude. It is because you want the person on the stage, the version of you, the opera singer, the band, the comedian, whoever they are, to not be concerned. And they're to be there because you're there for them. I love it. I hope that's powerful. Feels powerful. All right. I will see you next time. Thank you so much for being here, or wherever you are landing in the pick a card, or visiting the House of Scrying, or joining my mailing list. Whatever is going on, whatever you're feeling. Thank you for being you, for your attention, your awareness, and get ready to pop. Did you watch Community? Anyway, okay, bye. Welcome to the Trolliverse. If you're a message from the nature spirits, the old ways, the old earth spirits, we have trolls. I think we're at number 4. And like I said, this is the stone that I'll be using as my my contemplation crystal ball. And why I believe it's man-made. What did I write the name of it down? I did Carborndum, that nail file kind of look. But how galactic is this, even though it's so dense and man-made? Maybe it's just aspects of it. I don't know if it's man-made because it's like completely inorganic materials or a mesh of organic materials. Take in the Inkblot, see, sense, and feel for yourself. Add your comments below. Drop an emoji, whatever feels good. Take it in, take it in. There's a large troll that's been here since when I created this Inkblot. There's his nose, there's his eyes. It's almost like he's got red feathers in his cap, so red feathers might mean something to you. Also, he has a very large mustache, possibly even to beard, but nonetheless. There's stained glass here, but it's not colored. It's just the leading and the glass. There is an owl and a duck. I want to put those two together. There's also something about a robot doll. Like, I feel like I'm looking at like Raggedy Ann or Andy, but they're a robot, but they're still like a doll. So they're soft. They're not metal. Maybe they have a metal mechanism, but I feel like they're a doll. I don't know what to say. I feel like as I'm stepping into this troll space, or the road paved by the trolls, you might have an affinity for deep space and for, this is the way I'm going to say it, apply it however it may or may not fit, or tell it to F off. Overcoming defeat. Yeah. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Do you know what's interesting? We just came from Pixie, and I feel like this is like filled with pixie dust. I'm in the Milky Way, but so deep within the earth that I'm like thunder, not from the sky or up above, but from below. Things that chisel, but we anchor. It's like being in the engine room of the earth. And some might fear this portion of you, this aspect of you, or this energy that you're working with right now. There's also, for heavens and hot dogs, dumbbells, like weightlifting bells, but it's like the one big bar. You know what it's called. That thing. Almost like a deadlift. There's a really good thumb mark in this as well, like right here. Beep, beep. Somebody getting a new car. Interesting. Overcoming defeat. Obstacles. Under the wing of, have you had a mentor through this? Something about earrings or earlobes. Earlobes. And maybe whatever they mean as a pressure point. Meridian point, acupressure, acupuncture. I feel like there's just also something about the around the ears. One of the readings here had Puff the Magic Dragon in the ear print, but this is specifically like the around the ear ledge to the earlobe. This is very mysterious ways. Maybe you work in mysterious ways. I think also to some degree or another, you might also notice when some people, places, or things are around you, and maybe these are things that you've had to overcome. So again, I'm not trying to be insulting, but if this message is for one, or thank you for holding space for another, it's like maybe people at, say, your job, they've been favored somehow, and you just know they're full of shit. You're like, they are not that smart, or their assistant does all their work for them. Like, I feel like there's something that they get praised for that it is just like, how does anyone not else see this? Like, this is not, I don't know. It's like somehow they come off more mysterious than they really are. They're just, oh my gosh, who is this energy? I feel like I'm watching it and I'm like, what? What? Like suddenly I'm Tim the Toolman Taylor when he does that grunt. Ooh, ooh. And so it's like looking at me, it's like, what makes them so magical? Like, I don't get it. You know, when they say like, oh, we just love this person, you're like, I don't get it. And maybe sometimes because your intuition is like, oh man, something just feels a little, I don't know, feels off, feels weird. And not weird that's asking you to wander out. It feels like you're just like, this person's got something else going on. That's what it feels like. It's like they're not mysterious. They're not these things, but the people around them, as you're viewing this, you're like, oh, I love this person. And everyone's like, oh, we love so-and-so. And you meet them and you're like, and you kind of just go along with it because you don't want to shit on the parade. I don't know. This feels like in the space of this troll space anyway, and maybe it's about trolls, online or trolls under the bridge, whatever the case is. But I'm going to stay here for a moment because it feels like your awareness of that, and whether you decide to say yay or nay, like, oh yeah, they're so great, or you're like, oh, well, tell me more, or you just maybe stay silent. It's something about the inner process that deep within just maybe has a depth and a capacity to perceive that is not as available on the surface as much as it's said. Do you know what I mean? It's like when people are like, oh, I'm so deep. And I'm not trying to judge this in a way that's like debaggy. But from this moment, I want to credit you for your way of being able to notice that. But you also have the awareness that maybe the people around you, it's not a concern or it's not their focus or whatever the case is. So you even trying to explain it when they're, on board with it, and maybe you just keep quiet. Again, I'm probably not saying this well, but I'm not going to stop. This is like the troll space. I will not be defeated whether someone or something, whether IUEB decide to say or not say. You trust that. Damn it, that's the wisdom in all of this. So we're at this party, this place, and there's a person or an energy, and they're like, oh my God, come meet so-and-so, they're so great. And of course, everyone's going to lead with the compliments. Of course, great, let's do that. You don't want to be like, oh, here's Steph, she's okay. She can be a little, I don't know. Everyone leads with their best parts. Amazing, great. But then you get in there and you're like, something. That's what you trust. That's what you know. And you may or may not say anything because you're not looking to crap on anyone's parade or this, that, but you trust it. That's the point. That's the point. That's the point. Thank you. Because this energy says, that strength, you're almost, when to invest and not invest in a person, regardless of what the circle of people around them say. Because you then have to check in with the integrity energy of all of them around them too. And you're like, well, I don't know all of them to trust their things. So that's a lot of work. I'm going to just trust my intuition, or I'm going to trust my instinct, or I'm going to trust something. Do you know what I mean? That's what it feels like. Regardless of me trying to like tippy-toe around this. It's like a troll trying to tippy-toe in the corner, but it's like a troll. I feel like trolls are really big, but I feel like trolls are also really small. There's different sizes of this kind of energy. And so it's almost like in the spirit of that, if there's someone or something that you've been dealing with, yeah, I see you up there. I'll get to you in just a moment. It's like someone made a big deal, but they're really small, and somebody who's small, you know, is a really big deal. I don't know. There's just something about the different sizes of trolls. I don't know, but they're stepping forward, and I feel like, cool. Okay. Because they all have like this entanglement that feels very clear when you're tuned into the depth of this to do the work that creates man-made beautiful things. So you might work with your hands, you might express earnestly from your soul space, and maybe that's not always appreciated. Okay, we can say it sucks, but then I also want to say, okay, well, who cares? Do you appreciate it? Is it part of your action to your spirit and higher self that where the communication is happening? Is it felt and heard there? Whatever the case is. Anyway, see, I feel like this is like a tough message. Like, it feels very point of view, and your ability to maybe jump around points of view because of your ability to not only be deep, but from that depth is a really good anchoring point to kind of go, and like a web comes out like Spider-Man, and it's like, and then there's this whole system of structures that you can see, delicate as they may be, but also strong like Silk Road. So it's like the possibilities are kind of endless here, but the tunnels, I'm probably not doing you justice, but I feel also very excited. I feel excited for you at the same time, because I feel like this is probably not a popular thing, area, energy, item, direction, whatever it is that you're doing, or why you're here, or whatever the heck I'm talking about, and really not knowing, it's probably not quote unquote popular. Maybe it's popular in a very surface way, and that is like it's like a nail file, but just scratches the surface. Where you're at in that, maybe that same surface area that is popular, it's like not many continue. And that's fair, not deterring anyone. We all got to stop and listen. Got, lifetimes, whatever. But just at the depth of what is your surface and understanding with this energy, it's not as popular. Maybe because of the work that is required. I don't know. Maybe because the amount of devotion, darkness, maybe the stark light that's shining on you the entire time, and there's no way to escape it. And you've stepped in many times, and you have dug through it. Hence, maybe the overcoming. Let's get a spirit card out for trolls. See a bearskin rug. Sorry, up here, I remember now. There, first of all, there's a little chihuahua head, or like a small dog in a blanket poking out. So cute. It's also interestingly, like, while I was seeing the small chihuahua dog, because I was seeing like an Egyptian cat as well. So it's almost like this cat and dog mix. Being able to see left brain, right eye, right brain, left eye. Something about a bow tie, or a bow tie around the neck. And I think from a lady's perspective, it's called a choker. Like, it's just like a single black thing, maybe with a little bow there. Something about a choker. Spirit card for trolls. We have here the dolmen. Ooh. Eruption is on the bottom. That's hilarious. Erosion and eruption. Erosion and eruption. There's spaces and people, places, or things that you can see that are trying to re-rise. It's almost like, you know what I'm going to say? It's almost as if you can see when demons are working through a density's person's personality. Maybe they have a clue, maybe they don't, whether they have the contracts, as we call it, or agreements. I don't know what it is, but you see it. That's not a judgment. You have no fear of this. You've walked through the tunnels with a direct spotlight on you the entire time with no escape. No escape. This is the work that you've done this far. And it probably sounds and feels very mysterious to other people, attractive because of the mystique. But again, the work and the depth to embody it, do it, live it, integrate it, pick all the words, it's not attractive. It's just not. It's not, like I said, again, it's not popular. You're going into the volcano. Also with the dolmen here of the spirit of all of this, thank you. You're not and have done sacrificing yourself for people's opinions that have no merit. So it's kind of like that crowd again. And maybe if this other crowd or whatnot, they're like, oh, well, you're not so great, Steph, either. And it's like, but you have no merit, so that's fine. It doesn't mean anything other than to you. Not trying to be rude, right? That's a curious thing when you have that, when there maybe are trolls trying to, whatever trolls do, and I mean like online trolls, it just is, I feel like there's a call for wanting to have meaning and presence, but it's like a cry, but I'm not crying. And it's like, okay, moving along. You know what I mean? And it's interesting that, and while affording a new world of the internet and a way of communication, the trolls do come out because they always were. That part of us is always there. And it just now has a space to hide behind the screen or behind the keyboard. Okay. But I want to credit whoever is here for this very weird message that you have done, like a popular topic, but you've gone through to where it's not popular. It's almost like you can see, or you're sensing where a lot of people stop or they pick it back up. We go back, and you've done all this. So you get it, maybe over lifetimes, maybe over reflections of past lives, whatever the case is. But you've done all that. So you get it. You get it. You're not judging it because it's like, oh, darn. You get it because you've done it. But you just happen to be at this place in time that I'm seeing deeper beyond. And then it like, you get it. I'm going to just try and stop saying it. But I am hearing it's like, damn. You know, sometimes like, damn. Maybe it's harder for you to make friends. There is a woman here in a black dress. She has, I want to call it like maybe a bustier or a corset type dress on. And then it has like, I don't know if she's dead or alive. It has like open shoulders, but it also has like a little part of a dress that goes like, it's just like a band here. So on the arms, and then it has like this, and then it kind of opens up. And it is a feminine energy, female expressed. More hands come out. So it's almost like if we were talking right now and there's this set of hands, this set of hands, and this set of hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and possibly even 2 up here. But I'm going to stick with the 6 for sure. But possibly up to 8. So it's like as we're talking, imagine it's like all of these going at once. Ew, do, 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 do. And then they could also like do their own thing. As I'm like, oh, you know, I was doing this over here. And then, you know, it's kind of like, what's that? Pat your head, rub your belly. Yeah, it's very curious. But I think this is also like kind of part of your mystery. And maybe there's something about mystery schools about this. I'm seeing an otter swimming and or a beaver. But I don't think you do it for the mystery. it's because to wherever you're at now, you've already completed them. It's not mysterious to you. Maybe you understand it is to other people. It's all very mysterious, nonetheless. Okay, troll. Yes. Okay. I just heard grease lightning. Not going to be someone's sacrifice or squeeze toy for their stress relief. There is a sacred place that you connect to with your spirit source, higher self. I feel like it's also been carried with you for a long time. And dare I say, maybe even through lifetimes, it feels like a location on the earth. So, you know, when somebody has like an affinity for, well, I love to travel to or vacation, whenever as much as I can, you go to insert that word, insert that location. It doesn't have to be fanciful, popular. Maybe it's just like, whatever. You're just like, whenever I vacation, I love going there. I love the energy of this place. There's something about it. Yes. Yes. There is something here about ego that shines through very clearly. And maybe it's just sometimes you press upon egos, or maybe sensitive egos. Delicate. I just heard the word delicate. I am seeing what I think is a ghost from Ghostbusters, but it's not Slimer. I feel like it's a bad ghost. Troublemaker. Have you been pegged as a troublemaker? Like, well, why can't you just like them? And you're like, because I don't like them. But that doesn't mean I'm an enemy of such. Cave of, oh my goodness, ice. Bonfire. Taking the artistry. Where there's smoke, there's fire. It is down here as well. Have you burned some bridges? This is what I've heard. Yes, there are some I have. And maybe you reflect back and go, I wish I would have done things differently. I've learned, And then there's some where you're like, yep. Because that bridge also gave that person access to me. And that's a no-go. There's something here that is rising. Something about black dragons. Seeing Fred Flintstone laugh. I'm seeing a different kind of dog with very sharp teeth. Like if I could put a shark in a dog like size, but it's a shark. But now it's also a dog, but it's a shark. And what is that show? Thank you. Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency. Love it. Spoiler, but whatever. Not spoiler. It's a quite old show now, and books, I believe. They're looking for a shark, but it's a cat. Well, I can't even remember. I'm way too liminal now. They're looking for a shark inland, or what has markings of a shark, but now the shark is a cat. So anyway, there's something about that. Something about conjuring. There's rhinoceroses here as well. In the Cave of Winds magnifying glass, I was just going to say, look carefully at details, even your own. Check in with your intentions, the deep ones, not the surface ones. Check in. Because you work very clearly with the above and below, the demons and the whatnot, so we can apply all of the things. But you can map things out. It feels like captain energy. Okay, captain energy. It's kind of like that age-old saying, like the devil's in the details. So maybe if there's a contract coming your way or an offer, just, do a little double check. Get someone you trust or that has no skin in the game, but a money transaction to take a look. You know? Feels good. I also want to note that where you're thinking about going, it's like if you've went to the same spot over and over and over again because you love it, you might actually think about looking at it closer as more of something permanent. And as you may conjure, summon, request, speak with spirit, manifest, etc., I'm going to say this in a weird way, but sorry, not sorry. What's on the bottom here? Swing. Okay. Something can swing both ways. That's in the spirit of this, because I feel like someone or something might try and or is trying to manifest you. Is that weird? Is that a weird thing to say? As you may want, wish, manifest, and desire, somebody else may be wishing and wanting and desiring for you, of you. I don't know. I just gotta know, I don't know, in this trail that I'm on, because it does feel like a trail. You have defeated something from, okay, maybe at times you have felt defeated. There's different dimensions to this. Something that feels like has been following you for lifetimes. I know that's a very dramatic thing to say. If it's taken out of context, I'm not trying to perpetuate something, but it feels like if this is for you, and if it's not for you, thank you for holding space for someone to be like, I fucking knew it. It's like, because you would already know that. It feels like I don't know if it's in the ancestry lineage. It's been following you. Here's the thing. Whatever you've been doing and working on currently in this lifetime now, I can see an accumulation. Great. But there is also a time or a stage where it feels like something was messy. Like you're playing with someone or some things, and it was messy. It was just messy. So you're still cleaning up a little bit of that. Cool. It's absolutely beautiful. But in that creating and cleaning up, now when this other energy, people, places, whoever they are, but it's the same spirit over and over and over again type thing. And it feels like a pipple, like Sikkim, like somebody trained an energy or an entity to do this thing. And they have your scent. But you're creating or conjuring to cleaning up these connections. Now you wait. Because I don't know that they know to what depths you have done to, I'm going to say this hopefully in the best way possible, defeat that very energy and of them within the self, not to diminish or punish. Maybe you've been through those processes, but now they are not a threat to you, because within you, again, this is like the popular surface stuff to deep down. It's like, oh, this is within me. I see that, I recognize it, and I've defeated it within myself. And so now I can just like sit and wait till whoever this they is or parts of us decide to try and conjure whatever. It's a very odd story. So if you're still here, or, you know, if it's not, hopefully you've gone to another one, because there's the eruption and the erosion. I feel like the erosion was good. It's kind of like what they say is the ego death, but not to kill it, to have it reborn in its actual essence and not in the surface shit that we talk about. Not poo-pooing it. You got to start somewhere. We all start somewhere, and that is a master making the master sum of self bigger. And no one, including myself, you know, but sometimes it can be easy to be like, oop, you don't want to shit on that moment, that first step ever. We don't want to be deterred from that, but maybe somebody has. And you're like, oh, I wonder why they are deterring such a thing. Where the heck am I? Trolls, y'all are freaking intense, man. Freaking intense. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of dig it though. Of course I dig it. I wouldn't be here if I didn't dig it. And it's kind of like in the space of like, I'm not afraid of pure feelings. I'm not afraid of loud feelings or energies. That's what this feels like. It's all the stuff around it that gives you so many clues and hints to things. It's like somebody being in your online audience that is saying something nice on the surface, but you can see where it's actually calculatedly placed to be passive aggressive or to try and, I don't be, you get it. I'm not stuck. Okay. Thank you. I feel very chill all of a sudden. Like if we were at some like grand, weird, wonderful mystery school that nobody knows that we're there, but there's still a swing set in the background, even though we're like 400 million years old, or maybe we're 22 or 47. And you're like, you know what? There's still a swing set because there's something soothing. It's a space to contemplate. It's a space to sweep. It's a space to just frickin' breathe and be with your sense of self and how that communicates to your spirit, higher self, but then outward from there in your web. Yeah, in your web. And I'm hearing very clearly the power of 3, so mote it be. 3 of Swords, Cave of Hearthfires. We're going to bring out 2 more. A total of 3 for in there. Taking a look at the ink, because I did flip it if I didn't say so, and all that yammerings that came through, I just kind of dived in. There's a very large coat here. What's on the bottom? 8 of Wands. The power of 3, so mote it be. With the 3 of Swords right here. If that means anything to you, of course, follow that. This is what I'm going to say. They tried to bury you. But really, like whatever that saying is, it sucks. It's like, oh my gosh. Or in our own world, I did it again. Here it feels like with the Knight of Cups and the Emperor, we've been talking about like taking that space, like almost like that big coat that I was seeing. And the kind of buttons, it's like a big old Viking coat. No, you don't need to care about Vikings or have lineage in Vikings or any of that space. But whatever would represent that to you in your favorite culture or in your current lineage, and or considering that you probably maybe have an affinity for a different culture from where you are now or lineage because you've had a history there, literally history. It might be a mystery to you, but it's a history. Anyway, nonetheless, this is that big coat. It is fur. It could also be Alaskan, like up in the cold places where something though is undisturbed, and that's the point, because you can do things undisturbed. You might be an overthinker. You might also be overthinking things. Okay. But you are coming out of this or through this, and it feels... Okay, I just heard butterfly effect. If someone or something, I don't know, whoever this crew is, okay, the spirit of consequence is waiting for your go ahead, or maybe it's karma. They're waiting for the optimal time. Also, this spirit in a different context that's being conjured is sitting here. Okay, it's an aspect of you waiting to be called in. So congratulations to whatever you've overcome and defeated within the self to be reborn. It's ready. Ready to go. You call it in. Love it. There's also something here about an ancient, I will use the term ancient. So first of all, a warrior horse. I don't know if I'm going to use the term ancient, but maybe like in the spirit of, I mean, very topical, like Romans, and they would decorate their horses for war. Like imagine if there's a war going on and the horses have armor on or are decorated in some way, shape, or form. So that's what I'm seeing. Great. I don't know if ancient's the right word, but it's in the spirit of that. It's okay. I'll just say it. Ancient alien artifact. There, I said it. There, I said it. It is what it is. Because maybe sometimes it is freaking heartbreaking to be human. There, I said it again. Like these are some of the things that I feel like in your troll trails of going deep into inner earth, which leads to outer space of sorts, also, you know, dark, whatever the case is. These are some things that you've come up against, and it could be like, there, I said it. But we've had to say a lot of things in silence, do a lot of things in silence, and that's okay. But it's also nice sometimes to say it to somebody or something that won't think you're crazy or isn't going to try and like get so deep in there. And it's like, it's just, no, express it, share your story, share your story. I can feel that it can be hard to be here sometimes. I get that. This ancient alien artifact, I also oh my god, I'm so swearing. I got not a trucker mouth today or potty mouth. I got a troll tongue. Troll tongue. It's in here. It's almost like literally that's a tongue. You might be sharp tongue. No, you changed too fast on me. You got to go back. Will it go back? I don't know. Ancient alien artifact. There's a puppy dog in here. He has big floppy ears. Adorable. I love it. It's almost as though he's like stepping in to soothe like service animals. Animals might be really attracted to you when they're not trained by killer humans to become killer dogs. Okay. Something about a Christmas tree and a candle on top. A butterfly that has, or a moth that has its wings picked off. I want a hug. And so in this moment of this troll, I want to give the troll in you a hug. It's kind of like saying your emotions are not scary, even if they're heavy-footed or felt deeply or loud or scary because of the things that you've been through. Those emotions deserve a hug too. That yeah, it deserves a part. They're not so scary. It's like looking at a big or small troll. And understanding what they protect and preserve, their part in all of it, the piece of you that feels hidden away, the part of you that feels like it needs to hide or does hide on purpose, granted, sometimes, yes, on purpose, for a reason, for good reason. But I'm going to kind of say in this moment, I'm coming out of this like clay cracking. I have a frickin' shower. I take my little plant and you become the emperor in new clothes. Also very Aries oriented, utilizing that energy to when you need or want, but not embodying it to the degree that you become the very thing that has been hunting you in order to defeat it. Because then it's not defeating it, it's perpetuating it. It's keeping it in a loop. So something about, again, the devil's in the details with 8 of Wands on the bottom. And just like that, it all happens in a flash. Something turns around. Okay, let me say it this way. Thank you. Every thought, post-it note, projection, cast, spell, word, play, like imagine if all of these were post-it notes and that everything that only we can think of, right? So maybe someone, or, you know, again, whether there's a troll in your life or whatever, and what we imagine, or if you're breaking up with somebody, relationships, anyway, they place all these, those are the only things you know about. Then there's the things you can imagine, and then there's the things you don't know about. They're beyond even the map of imagination. So now place this, like this is how deep this space is here. So I want to acknowledge the grandness of that, but also like some defeat and dismantling, which feels also very divine. Now imagine that for every perspective that we have of any other person, place, or thing, experience, etc., that we would place judgments, opinions. Again, they're from our perspective, maybe from a memory and maybe from a history of someone and something, but they're still held within us that we think or remember. And then, you know, maybe we magnify it as well. Then we add on even more from what we imagine, where it came from, the whys, the stories. But imagine that in every single person, place, or thing, including the moments we look in the mirror, we make them of ourselves. And we're just post-it person. Fee, fi, fo, fum. Post-its, post-its, post-its. Fee, fi, fo, fum. This is every single thing I must overcome. And I think in this very curious way that this message is coming through, it's like you've started with picking off a few and doing it. Where I'm at right now, and if you are here, whew, and now I'm just standing in the wind or standing on the ground, my ground, your ground, and we can let the wind work with the wind and the earth to funnel and tunnel and do what it's due, and all of those sticky post-its just start to blow off. You might feel like in some way, shape, or form you've been in a spiritual sabbatical, going through all of this maybe. And so you come up back to the service, you have a shower, you clean up, and you're like, okay. But then it's kind of like when I sit and it's like, if this is like where your throne is, where you left it before you started this, you're like, is this what I want? It's very curious. Let's keep adding on some cards. Cave of Rivers. There's faces here. It's a gentleman. He's a younger gentleman, 30s. I'm not great at ages. 30s-ish. There's 2 monkey lions here. They are reaching out for each other. They are connected, but for some reason they feel separated by some space. Or maybe it's a time frame. Medicine in the cave of rivers, healing and feelings. Also, the two serpents or the two snakes do kind of feel separated. It could also be homesick. Because again, this ancient, alien artifact, it looks like a spaceship. Like it, even though there's like an artifact of it, maybe there's a rendition you've seen in a book, encyclopedia, just heard specifically, or something along that lines. And you're like, I know that shape, I know that formation, like visions pop in, or dreams or nightmares or something along that lines. I feel like that's a communication, just to be like, yeah, it's like we're keeping an eye on you, not in a creepy way. In this moment, it feels like we're keeping an eye on you while you're on this very dense journey. But we're still here. Like home has come to you, but we can't land. It's not our place for whatever reason. Maybe it's a different time. It's not for me to figure out. But that's what it feels like. There's something that you recognize as home. And I love that for you. I'm also seeing somebody with like a scar, either over their face, possibly to their eye, or something about an accident. You might have a connection to, or something with Odin. Doesn't leadership is on the bottom. I don't know. I feel like it's just something about an eye. Oh, interesting. Okay. There's no place like home. Those ruby red slippers. Something about cancer too. The pinchers, lobsters, crustaceans. Light as a feather, stiff as a board. Light as a feather, stiff as a board. I don't know much about trolls and the spirit of the trolls mythology, but in this moment, I feel like there's, it's kind of like looking at the human species and applying what, like maybe what one area or person or people are doing, and applying that to the whole species. Like, well, humans are horrible. Like, oh my God, look at them doing all these horrible things. When the species as a whole, like, we're not all like that. We're not all power hungry, fear mongering warlords. Like, we do not want to hurt each other. We do want harmony with, disagreements and growth. And so this is what this kind of feels like with trolls. Like, there is different strengths and different spaces of what's going on, because there's something worth keeping behind a gate. I don't know what that means, but that's how I'm hearing it. And so that's how I'll just say it. I won't try and complicate it. In the cave of earth is mastery, trust, and gatekeeper, which is in the reverse. And I was asked to keep it in the reverse. I don't, but okay. Oh, no, I know why. Thank you. It's almost like, because sometimes some doors aren't seen because they look upside down. So maybe they're just not as distinguishable, or they're indistinguishable from their surroundings. That makes sense. Yeah. So I think that you've been on a journey of self-mastery for some time. I think it's also Candyman that just stepped forward. Was he the one in the horror movies that it's kind of like Bloody Mary if you said their name 3 times? But was there like bees? Somebody with all the bees. Ooh, I feel like I can just hear a lot. Trust where you're led to go, your own guidance system, your own navigation. Maybe you're going somewhere your family has never been, laid foot or made path on. But there's something about what, okay, this is how I'm going to get ready to close this message. Oy vey. It's crazy. I love it though. This might just be a part of you, right? But clearly what I'm hearing is it's a solo journey. It is want to acknowledge that you've probably felt that up until this point in some way, shape, or form. Solo to alone, loneliness, sorrowful, surprising, powerful, exciting, invigorating, but nonetheless solo. And it's here over and over and over again. And I want to just acknowledge this moment because it's part of self-mastery. And while one is individual to interconnected, your mastery, I say this in a nice way at this time, but it's almost like it's not good for anyone. It's good for you. And I also want to say it has probably just felt maybe isolated from what is common, popular, surface. Please also don't hold yourself back from enjoying those things when you do come out of the troll tunnels, when you do go through gates like medicine to test yourself, to serve your self-mastery, to work with gods, goddesses, deities, whatever the case is, other masters. But there's also masters of manipulation. There's masters of illusion. So these are all things. But masters of magnificence. So some parts of you are worth gatekeeping and not having access to everybody. But I do want to acknowledge the solo part of the self-mastery. But please have some fun on the surface. Don't make it small or not worth your time because it doesn't carry the weight of what you're used to doing on your own. Maybe please also don't battle everything as an obstacle. And I feel like there's other words I want to say because suddenly I'm just like, quiet. And I appreciate you for your journey and your journeys that you will continue to take through your self-mastery. And I hope that in the very gods and goddesses and journeys within and the characters that you seek and meet in these places, that you also see them embodied in their aspects on the surface, having fun, eating food, laughing, having a beer, whatever the case is. And know that that very aspect of them, fractions of them, are walking with you. And so the trolls and wherever, whether they reside under bridges or as big as mountains, I feel that they are very, they offer an important part of the ecosystem. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for that. For even the parts of us that feel ugly. Not saying trolls are ugly. The parts of us that feel damned. Seeing the Tin Man getting oiled, we might feel stiff. And we might protect that and have pride in yeah. All right. Troll. Holy trolly macaroni. I'm gonna stop. Self-made mastery. Now I'll stop. Thank you so much for being here. I hope this would serve, inspire, educate, or entertain. I'll see you next week, of course, on Saturdays. You can check out the House of Scrying. You can go to thehouseofscrying.com, join the mailing list. June Live is coming up at the end of June, but if you want to save your seat, yeah, I feel like there's things. It's an honor. It's an honor. The troll in me meets the troll in you.